Hey, Woodland Wildcat parents. It's Tim Sheldon, or also known as the guy who sent out the wrong date for the curriculum night.
You're gonna pick it up? Oh no, will you pick it up?
As we all know, curriculum night for our third grade dual and fourth grade students is on Thursday, September 9th. And for our fifth graders, it's on Monday, September 13th. But I wanted to talk to you about shield testing. So you may have seen in the video for students how exactly it's going to work when they actually take the test. It's a saliva-based test. But I wanted to talk to you more about what this might mean for us and the results and how we want to receive them and understand them and interpret them so we can manage our expectations and understand the why behind the what, if you will, right? So the idea of shield testing is that we're trying to find all of the asymptomatic cases, those kids that don't feel sick, who aren't displaying symptoms, but are just walking around and they aren't aware that they haven't, aren't aware that they're carrying it, aren't aware that they may accidentally be spreading it, right? And those students are there whether we look for them or not, or faculty members for that matter, right? And so this is a really excellent free layer of added protection for our district to be able to not only make sure that we're isolating those cases where kids are sick and have symptoms, but these other cases that might otherwise remain hidden. So it's a really good thing that we're going to be able to do these tests. But let's just do a little bit of math to make sure that we understand, what the results may look like. Now, it's important to remember, I'm not a doctor, I am not a scientist, I am just a principal. And so this math is meant just as an approximation. I don't have any degree in epidemiology, and I wouldn't want anyone to interpret this as this is exactly the number of cases we would get or we are going to get, right? So that's my big disclaimer. So anyway, we have about 1,200 kids at intermediate, right? But not everyone is opting into the test. And so we can even just say, let's just make it 1,000. So we have easy math too, right? And special shout out to the owner and operator of my office, which is also known as my basement, which is also known as my daughter's playroom. So we have 1,000 students. Now the positivity rate in terms of people taking tests just generally in our area is maybe about 5%, let's just say, right? And so that would be 0.05 times 1,000 would be 50 positives out of a group of 1,000 if it was a 5% positivity rate. But I don't think that's really a fair comparison, because the people who are taking tests out there in the world, generally speaking, are people who maybe don't feel well and think they may have it, or maybe they were told they are a close contact. So they might be much more likely to actually have it. So let's assume that they're 10 times more likely. Remember, not a mathematician, not an epidemiologist. That's not a real statistic. That's just me, for illustrative purposes, throwing that out there. So if the people in the general public were 10 times more likely to go get a COVID test, and therefore the positivity rate would be much higher. Let's assume then that it's not a 5% positivity rate, but actually a 0.5% or a half of 1% positivity rate. Or in other words, 99.5% of people are negative, right? But still, let's look at the math. 1,000 people times 0.005 still gives you 5 positives, right? Now, 5 positives in a day, remember, they're all taking this test. For us, it's on Tuesdays. So 5 positives in one day, that might be a really upsetting number, because that's higher than we've seen. And it would be easy to potentially say, just looking at the numbers, oh, that's a big spike in cases, right? And in fact, in reality, it's cases that we wouldn't have known about otherwise, right? And it's because we're looking for those positives that we found them, and now we're actually going to be that much safer, and those other students will be that much healthier because we found them. So we just want to manage our expectations in case we see a spike in numbers, and this may not happen. We may have 0, we may have more than 5. I just don't know. But I just want us to manage our expectations so as we start this new process, we don't compare our COVID statistics from before this to our COVID statistics after this, because they are very, very different. I felt a video was important for this because I wanted to make sure you could see my face, hear my tone of voice, because I know this is an emotional topic for a lot of people, myself included, because no one wants to be sick. No one wants to get their family sick. Everyone has different risk factors. So I hope that this would be a way to illustrate the issue, but also make you feel a little bit better about it. If you have more questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to try to address them. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful long weekend.